on the Rhody Sports Network.
To be quite honest with you, it's humbling to be with good people. That's what we wanted to be a part of.
This is the Archie Miller Show. For the next hour, we'll bring you an inside look at Rams basketball. Tonight's show is brought to you by Bud Light. It's for the fans. Newport Propane, Rhode Island's #1 choice for all your propane needs. The Pizza Gourmet, Rhode Island's wood-grilled pizza crust. By Dave's Fresh Marketplace, locally owned and operated since 1969. Now, here's your host, Steve MacDonald.
All righty, welcome back once again to our favorite spot, the Mews Tavern, George McAuliffe's place, and we love being here for all the coaches' shows, and we are here tonight for the inaugural, the inaugural men's basketball coaches' show. We had a coaches' show with both Tammy Reese and Archie Miller when we had the men's basketball and women's basketball preview, but this is our first time sitting down talking men's hoops for an hour with Coach. Coach is on his way over from practice, so he'll be with us in just a sec, but we want to let you know that part of the show is brought to us by Ortho Rhode Island as official orthopedics and sports medicine providers for the Rhody Rams. Ortho Rhode Island helps athletes and active people of all ages get better expertise, better care, better outcomes. Learn how Ortho Rhode Island can help you get better at orthopedicsri.com. While we wait, we're going to welcome Stone Freeman to the broadcast. Stone is a
thanks, Steve.
Yeah,
thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Who's now the executive director of the help me out.
Yeah, Rhody Excellence, the official endorsed NIL collective of URI men's basketball. So that's my new gig.
Yeah, going real well, and you do the TV for the football games as well.
That's right.
So we're looking for good news. It'll be fun with the College of Charleston game at
back
noon on Sunday. And while that's going on, the Selection Sunday will take place for football. So during that Charleston game, which should be a great game with Rhode Island, we're going to find out the news about URI football. So be a pretty darn good day for us URI fans.
Whole great weekend, right? The Bryant URI game on Saturday, too, so we'll have some fun. Good time,
Great time to be a Rhody fan, that is for sure. We also want to mention that the Ring of Honor ceremony is happening this Sunday when the College of Charleston is in town, and two people being inducted. Steve Shubin, one of the great men's basketball players back in the mid-'60s, and Steve Shubin will be honored, and also Dana Smith, one of the great women's basketball players, will be inducted into the Ring of Honor. Those will be the 9th and 10th people to get in, so that'll be a great part of that Sunday as well. Two great games coming up this week, Wednesday and Sunday. We'll talk about both of those. We'll talk in depth about Lafayette and then touch on College of Charleston, who is number 7 in the country in scoring right now. But right behind them, University of Rhode Island at number 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You said all summer long, we're going to play fast. We're going to play fast. We're going to play fast. And you're playing fast. 3 games over 90 points. First time ever to start a season at the University of Rhode Island. You're averaging 97, right? And you're getting some of those things as far as playing fast. You got to be pleased with what's happening there.
Yeah, we've been at it a long time in terms of establishing our style, and we were fortunate to have a lot longer summer. And work through it. And there's one thing. There's a lot of teams that say they're going to play up tempo, and there's a lot of teams that don't. And we're one of those teams that I don't think you really have to ask if we're trying to play up tempo. I think you can see we have an identity on offense. We can get a lot better. We have to become way more consistent in terms of the way we run and the way we push it. But it's the quality of player that we have, and I think, keeping the pressure on people, finding ways from an offensive standpoint to play with pace, draw fouls, get good looks from 3 early in the clock, that's something that we've made our bed with it. This is what we're going to do.
So you're recruiting with that in mind, right?
Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Hey, the thing that amazes me when I look at the numbers, you would think, okay, you're scoring a lot of points and you're playing fast. That means you're creating a lot of turnovers, and you're really not.
No.
Right? But what you're doing is guarding every shot. You're contesting shots. Talk about that type of a drop coverage thing that seems to.
We've got to get better defensively.
Yeah.
I think our ceiling as a team will only be as good as we are defensively, and I think early in the year we're balancing back and forth, going against a lot of unique styles. majority of teams that we're playing and going to play are going to play small, and we have some size out there at times. So we have to continue to work to get better defensively. But we're not a team that's trying to force a ton of turnovers. I will say this, that we need to be more deflection-oriented. We have to be able to make more hard plays at the rim, and we have to have our defense be able to create offense for us so we are constantly, in attack mode. And I think as we get better defensively, you'll see some more turnovers, and you'll see more deflections, more hard plays. We don't want to be passive by any stretch, and we got to get better on the ball. But, I think defense is something that we as a unit, we as a program, aspire to be good at. We aspire to be good on both ends of the floor.
I mean, it's a give and take, right? You go for turnovers, and you can sometimes get out of position. Teams are shooting against you. Fairfield, 27%, and then 14% from three. Holy Cross, 41%, 35% from three, which is an okay number. And Franklin Pierce, 36%, 42% from three. So 27 and 36, 41. Those are pretty representative numbers for your defense against their offense.
Yeah, I think there's early in the year there's going to be some skews with the limited amount, but I think 3-point line defense is the number one thing you have to really be guarded against. The threes can really hurt you, and we have to do a better job of being dialed in on scouting certain players. We have to be better on underneath out of bounds and not give guys easy looks. We have to be good in transition to get back and make the game, 5-on-5, so to speak. And then, to me, the backbreaker of all of the things that you do results in, do you get clean rebounds? Are you able to rebound the ball and not give up second chance opportunities? But from a defensive standpoint here early, I'd say the one weakness and the one thing that we're really starting to really have to identify is defending the three a lot better. Holy Cross, very good three-point shooting team. Hurt us for 30 minutes in that game. 10 minutes we were able to get it under control. Even last game against Franklin Pierce, we weren't dialed in early in the game, and you gave a team 3 or 4 open looks to start, and they make them. We want to be a team that's really ready at the beginning and defending the three and their best shooters to not let them get confidence. But defensively, we've got to do a better job. Field goal percentage defense is a big deal. Defensive rebounding is a big deal. And being good at some of the things that you can control along the way, we've got to keep getting better at.
I know you hustled over here from practice today. I got a chance to watch a little bit. What's your assessment of practice today?
Yeah, I thought we had a good practice today. I thought we had good energy. We were fresh coming off of the weekend. We had that break here, which is a little odd. We got away from preparing for an opponent and got back to nuts and bolts. Let's get back to, dialing in on getting better at some things over the weekend.
Like what?
I think, the biggest thing for us is to not lose our discipline off ball. I think so many times it's about guarding the ball. It's about keeping it in front. But at the same time, you don't want to, continue to be out of position where you're always reacting to the dribble or the drive and you're late on recovery. You can't be late on recovery. You're going to give up a lot of threes. And I think we're spending a lot more time right now position-oriented and trying to be, in positions where we're not breaking down as much. And hopefully that will allow us, to be better, longer in possessions.
Certainly, the gold jersey worn by Javonte Brown again. It seems every time I'm showing up, he's got that gold jersey.
He does.
He don't want to give it away.
He's done a good job, but I think he's giving it up here tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
We're one more day, and I think David is running away with it, which, is to a credit to our team. I think Javonte has done a really good job here early. He's established himself. Sebastian, before he went down the other day, had a really good string of practices. We're evaluating practice still right now in practice 31. We're looking at every statistic and everything because the only way you truly get better is to be able to watch your players grow and help them along the way, continue to practice the right way. And David, here recently, especially in 2 weeks, has climbed as much up in the practice statistics as any player we've had. So to have multiple guys winning it along the way speaks a little bit of volume to who's, continuing to work at it, get better. And, I think as we grow as a team, the development of David and Cam and Drisa and Ty as a young player, but we have more than 2 guys. We have more than a 3-man roster that's running around out there on game day that's doing all the work. We have a lot of guys who can do a lot of good things. And I think the development of their roles and them being very confident players I think that's a big deal for us in terms of the quality of team that we put out there here as we keep going.
Yeah, no, you look at David, and it's gotten off to a little bit of a slow start. He's only taken 6 shots in 3 games, only played 41 minutes because of foul trouble and other things. But at the press conference this afternoon, in preparation for the Lafayette game, he was singing his praises.
He deserves it. I mean, he's practiced really, really hard. He's going against Javante a lot every day in practice, so that's a heavyweight battle, so to speak, for 2 hours a day. But he's starting to really round the corner in terms of figuring out what he's doing well, what he can do well, and what he has to do better. And he's not as stubborn in terms of taking coaching right now, and he's gotten a lot better. And in his 13 minutes against Fairfield, before he got a technical foul, where he slammed the ball, he did a really nice job. And he can't get a technical foul, right?
That's it.
The following game against Holy Cross, I think he played 6 minutes, and he was fine in those 6 minutes. But we had to adjust on the fly in that game and react to a smaller team, and we felt that – Dresa and a Dave in there. Let's see if we go a little smaller and cover the three-point line a little better, and it just so happened it worked. Franklin Pierce, he played extended minutes. He had good productivity. And I am hoping, knock on wood, very rarely have I seen guys practice successfully for weeks at a time and not get good carryover in games. So I think Dov's set up here moving forward as our schedule continues to get tougher and tougher. We're going to need him. Like all of our guys, going to have to be better, but I expect David to really continue to kind of show more what he's doing in practice in games.
He was on before you, one of the players this afternoon being interviewed, and he mentioned that one of the questions was about going up against Javante at practice every day, how it makes him better. He said, I've never played with a guy who gets up and down the floor like Javante does, and gives that type of game to you every time.
It's a challenge. Javante's a real presence.
Yeah.
And, he's got himself in fantastic shape that he does have the ability level to put a lot of pressure on you at the rim in transition or in half court and lobs on the glass. He's big around the basket. And if you don't feel like practicing that day or you're not really engaged in concentrating, you're going to get wore out. And I think David, early in practice, first couple weeks as we got started, I think he's really having a hard time, answering that bell. Well, 2 weeks later, he's not having a hard time answering that bell. He's producing. He's doing a really good job. So I think it's just, all these guys, whether it's Tyonne as a freshman or David as a sophomore, they're young, and they have to keep growing. They have to keep getting better. And part of it is the challenge of coming into the practice facility every day and making that your game.
Coach, on Javante, you and I have both seen a lot of A-10 basketball games in our lives.
Yeah.
You more intimately than me, but I've been there to watch. His type of skill set, a 7-footer that is athletic as he is, you don't see that in the A-10 very much. You see great guards and you see great wings.
Yeah.
But not often do you see somebody 6'11", 6'10", that has some of the skills that he brings to the table.
No, he's got a unique way of impacting the game.
Yeah.
He just impacts the game a lot from an offense and defensive standpoint. What he's running into here early on in our team is adjusting to is when there isn't anybody under the basket. And he's got to cover out a little bit more. We're going to have to continue to tweak and really, really be sharp in that area so we can keep him on the floor. But when he is on the floor, there's no question about it. He's making his biggest impact in the minutes that he's playing, from a production standpoint. He's doing it a lot of damage for us.
I want to ask you about Sebastian, and I got something about Jaden, but we were talking about, you were saying that, we don't want to be the team with just 3 guys that are kind of leading the scoring. You've got 4 guys at 14 points or more right now, and I know the competition is what it is, and but getting out there at 18 points a game for Jaden House, 17 points for David Green, 15 points for Javante Brown, and 14 points a game for Sebastian Thomas, and then 2 more at 9 as well. So you're looking at 6 guys, 9 points or more. You're going to love that distribution of points.
Yeah, I think when we set out, you got to have between 8 and 10 guys that you feel on a given night can play. Yeah. And I think we're there. How the scoring, I don't get too consumed with the scoring, right now.
Really?
I really don't look at who's averaging what and who's not. I mean, you could look at Jamarcus coming into the season saying, boy, he's really going to shoot the ball well, and he's gotten off to a little bit of a slower start. So, as it balances out and our team kind of continues to go through the year, the question is, are we going to continue to have multiple guys on given nights step up and play? And do we have that type of depth that we can trust that on given nights certain guys don't have it, certain guys you trust that you can get the job done anyway? And I think that's what we're on a quest to do. We do have in my opinion, a lot of quality guys that can score in different ways, whether it's Jaden and Dave are proven a little bit. You have Sebastian, who's proven himself here offensively. Jamarcus can really shoot. Ty, as a young player, as he keeps adjusting, he's going to have to impact the game in some more different ways, on the offensive end. But whether it's Q or David or Cam, there's a lot of guys on a given night that I don't think anybody on our team would be surprised if they went off and had a big night, because you see them every day in practice. And I think we have a lot of guys that not a lot of missing, in terms of, there's not a lot of drop-off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you talked about Jamarcus. First couple of games struggled. Last game, 18 points, perfect, 4 3 of 3,
yeah.
7 from the line. So I think he has maybe hit his stride. Hopefully it continues.
Yeah.
It's probably neither are correct, right? But somewhere in the middle, but probably hopefully leaning more toward.
Early in the year, a lot of guys have aspirations and hopes of getting off to good starts and playing well, but sometimes you try too hard and you get yourself kind of, in a rut here early trying to figure it out. But usually as the weeks go by and the games continue to go, the cream sort of rises to the top and you become yourself.
Sebastian Thomas left the last game
he did,
before he came back in, but missed the Franklin Pierce game. Update on him.
Very, pleased with, how, the recovery has gone for him. It was nerve-wracking at a time, and I think he was genuinely really scared. But, knock on wood, nothing wrong with him structurally. He's probably got, as much of anything, it's bruised and sprained. But I anticipated his weekend being slow and him working himself back in. And, lo and behold, he never came out for 2 days this weekend in practice on his own, and he's back in there again today. I don't think he's 100% by any stretch, but I do think we kind of we probably avoided a major deal.
Wednesday, do we see him on the court?
As of right now, yeah, Sebastian's in game mode.
Okay, sounds good. Talk about him a little bit, Coach. Obviously, he left and came back, and that is, relatively speaking, done more than you might think around this country.
Number one, when you make a decision to go on your own, you bet on yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And Sebastian bet on himself last year that he was going to go and get a different opportunity, and he was going to, take that role on. And man, did he deliver, for himself. He bet on himself, he produced, he played, and what he did in return is supreme confidence. He has got supreme confidence in who he is as a player.
Yeah.
2 years ago at this time when he was a sophomore and I was a first-year coach at Rhode Island, he was 50-50 whether he believed he was any good at times in practice, and he doubted himself. And sometimes you just got to go through it. You got to get through it on your own, and he did it the old-fashioned way. But what we have right now with him, and it's as crazy as it sounds, I don't really view him as a new guy.
Sure. Yeah.
He knows what's going on.
Yeah.
He's been around us. And, when you talk to him, he knows the language, so to speak. He's not like he's foreign to what we're doing. And one of the great upticks of what we have here, it's almost like we have a veteran program point guard in our system that never missed a beat. It's kind of like he just kind of came in and he kind of knows what to do. But he, by far and away, is a self-made player. He's self-confidence right now in his own game. He is vital to what we're doing on both ends of the floor. And, to me, he's probably as important of a guy on any team.
So take us back a little bit. He puts his name in the portal. Was it, hi, Coach, I want to come back, or was it, hey, Sebastian, we want you back? Who made that first move?
In all reality, he wasn't on the radar.
Mm-hmm.
We had signed a young high school really good point guard out of, Paul VI named Ben Hammond. And he and Tyonne were our two recruiting guys. And, we fully entrenched on Ben coming here. And, when the season ended and the portal started to uptick, that's when all the high school guys get real nervous.
Mm-hmm.
Ty didn't get nervous. He just kind of stays with it and says, I'm going to Rhode Island. But when you get nervous because you start to add a Jamarcus Lawrence or you start to add some players, at that point in time, Ben decided to avoid coming here, and that opened up a void of us needing another guy. And, a month into the portal, Bassie wasn't really on our radar. I think he was in the portal. He was doing his thing. And then it sort of circled back, and you got to give great credit to Austin Carroll, who had a great relationship with him, that I think that we approached it and said, hey, what are you doing? Where are you at with things? And the fact that he went to the University of Rhode Island played a role in his ability to transfer, because when guys multiple transfer through the years, they lose credits, they gain credits,
Okay.
they're eligible, that is. But by the fact that he was coming back to a school that he started up, he actually gained some things coming back, which is crazy as it sounds. And when we sat down with Sebastian, we made it very clear with him that, one, we wanted him back. Two, the role was going to be exactly what he asked for, because at the end of the day, you're not going to make a transfer to go figure something out again. I mean, you're at that stage, and it just stars the line. Great opportunity. The window opened. He could come back, and I'm really thankful that he did.
Absolutely, we are as well. The other issue I wanted to bring up, which is a positive one as well, is Jaden House playing that six-man role for you. Last year, 30 games, 30 starts for him. This year, 3 games, no starts, but his numbers almost across the board are either the same or slightly better than they were last year. He's still, putting up 18 points a game, 5 rebounds per game, a couple of assists a game, 27 minutes per game this season. And his efficiency, shooting 63% from the field, 50%, 4 of 8 from 3. I like the percentage, and I like the numbers as well there. He really seems to be falling into that six-man role.
Yeah, Jaden started his whole college career pretty much. And I think as we looked at things here early, we had to explain to him that, number one, there's 2 reasons that we're looking to do this. Number one, you're not far superior every day in practice to everybody else. It'd be an easy conversation if you were. And I think from a credibility standpoint of our team, we're asking everybody to, bring it every day and do this and do that. And I think trying to get his attention that, you're going to have to work a little harder. We're going to bring you off the bench. He could have taken that one of 2 ways. He could have looked at it and said, screw this, I'm going to pout, or I'm going to show you, so to speak, in terms of I'm going to be ready. And then after we did it, and I think in the back of my mind, I'm looking at combinations of players and what different lineups need when they go in the game. And so many times when you sub some guys out, and then you sub some guys in that maybe aren't as high-powered. Mm-hmm. I looked at it a little bit differently with our starting lineup of having 2 front court players that are pretty dominant, and Dave and Javante is needing the ball, us needing to get them involved. And then when we sub, maybe bringing in even more firepower. Could that be something that we could use to our advantage? And Jaden can be himself a little bit more. He doesn't have to think the game to start it in terms of creating or trying to, think. When he comes in the game, I think he's much more in his mode, which he's a great offensive scoring player, and with the way that we're playing, he can thrive if he does his job in terms of that. So you look at it and you say, somebody's going to have to sacrifice and be unselfish. Why not the preseason All-Atlantic 10 player steps up and shows everybody that he's willing to sacrifice some things for the good of the team? And, oh, by the way, he's thriving. And that's usually how it works when you are unselfish. So not saying that every game's going to be the same or it's going to stay the same or whatever. When he's a big part of what we're doing. He's given us a chance to kind of develop a chemistry, and he's given ourselves a chance to maybe, thrust in, from a scouting report perspective. You look at the other team, and they say when they sub and this guy comes in, you better be ready to go.
Absolutely.
Because, he's got a different way about him. But his numbers across the board, he's very efficient. And I think that the way we're playing kind of fits him, and we just need him to be more consistent on the defensive end. And, I anticipate him continuing to be himself.
How long ago was that decision made?
I think as we started to play our exhibitions and whatnot, we looked at our team, and we were going to have to make some decisions. And with Sebastian's injury against UConn, we had a guard out. And as we were coming into the Anselm scrimmage, we didn't have a guard out. We wanted to look at a different lineup, and at that point in time, we went straight off of what our staff felt was doing a good job in practice, and that was the first crew. They all stacked up 1 through 5 in our practice statistics and what we're valuing. And then after that, we kind of looked at it and said, this may be the way to go if he'll accept it. And I think having some talk with Jaden here early, I don't think he's missed a beat.
Initially, was he put off by it?
I think everybody would be.
Yep.
I think when you're a senior and you're coming into your 5th year and, you started every single game last year, why me? But there's some reasons behind it, and I think he has to look at it and own it and keep getting better. I don't think that anything's missed a beat in terms of what we're playing, and I think as we play tougher games and get down the stretch, he knows he's a big part of what we're doing. But it gives him a chance to come into the game, in my opinion, and think less, play more.
And I liked what you said in one of your press conferences that you told him, hey, you can be first team all 10 being the sixth man.
His goal is to win Sixth Man of the Year and be first team.
Yeah,
it's a heck of a thing, right?
Well, you look back, a lot of six men award winners are in there.
Hey, when you're in the NBA and you start to study the NBA, like they have that second unit, they call it in the league, and that kind of defines some guys' careers, where they're able to carve out a niche in that second unit, be a great scorer, because the coach is going to ask them to score in that second unit when the starters are out or whatever. But there's a lot of different ways that you do this as you keep going, and nothing stays the same, obviously.
And it speaks to what you said earlier today at the press conference. You said, I don't really need five guys starting the game all looking to fill up the cylinder.
No,
right?
I mean, I think sometimes you have five offensive-minded guys out there. They're all looking to get off to a good start. It doesn't work out real well. I think sometimes you need chemistry. And I think what we're looking for with our group is to find as much chemistry as we have here early. And I think this is something that we've set our mind to that we think can be big for us.
Captains, got five of them.
Yeah.
Sebastian Thomas, David Green, both seniors. And then redshirt juniors Javonte Brown, Andresa Traore, and then junior Jamarcus Lawrence. Easy to see the two seniors.
Yeah.
The other three had to be for a reason. Why?
Well, you let your team vote on that, and they have a lot of information now from May to June to July to August, September, October before we did it. And it was clear that we had a group of people on our team that commanded a lot of respect from their teammates. And I think that those five guys now have to work with me and our staff, especially as things start to get, highs and lows. We have to get those guys to be able to be the bridge between the coaching staff and the locker room. And I think as we continue to keep moving on, those guys are going to play a big role in terms of our leadership.
Post-game, Franklin Pierce, somebody asked a question about playing a Division II team. You gave a great explanation of why D2s can be valuable, and also about the difficulty in scheduling when you're at a level like the Atlantic 10 and a team like URI. Can you expand on that?
I mean, I think non-Division I games are not abnormal right now. I mean, you have the entire Mountain West. Everybody in the Mountain West at least plays one, in some cases two. You have them all across the country, and there's a lot of reasons to play them. One, from a financial standpoint, you don't have to pay Franklin Pierce $100,000, $90,000, $80,000 to come in and play. Number two, it doesn't really work against you or for you in terms of your league's net ranking or your net ranking, in terms of the numbers. It doesn't impact that either. But it also allows you to maybe get a game in when you need one, and at the end of the day, someone's not willing to play. And as you build your schedule around your non-conference, in some cases, this saves you a lot of heartache in trying to find opponents on common dates and money, et cetera.
Coach, a word about the class of 2025. We got the okay to talk about Barrett Lohr, but other guys are going to be off the list until I think papers are signed, correct? But can you tell us about Barrett?
Well, Barrett, we started recruiting when we first got here. The first time I saw Barrett play, he was 16 years old in Las Vegas, and he was playing in a 16 and under game out there in Vegas, and he's just watching him. And he's got great size, great skill, great feel for the game. And as we continued to recruit him, probably got a little bit lucky. In some cases, you got to get a little lucky in recruiting because he was off the circuit here this past year with a broken foot. Mm-hmm. And I think if he was on the circuit without a broken foot, I'm not sure we would have the ability to get him. Because he was out and because the way recruiting is nowadays, he sort of looked at it and said at the end of the day, I'm going to go where I'm wanted, and we really wanted him. He's skilled. He's going to be big. He can play the 2 or the 3, and in some cases he can really handle the ball. He's a great cutter, fits exactly what we're doing, and he's a great guy. And as he's getting healthy now, I expect him to have a big year here.
And we're seeing that class develop because you've got a few guys right now who are redshirting who are part of that 2025 class eventually, right?
Yeah, I think as you morph into recruiting nowadays, there's going to be a lot more high school kids coming and redshirting. It makes a lot of sense for them not to burn their year when they're not ready. And we have a couple guys sitting out this year that will be a lot better off next year because they're here. And then as we bring in multiple guys here this year with Barrett, we have a couple, at least one more lined up that I know will 100% from the high school ranks, get in. We'll start to see if we can't develop our roster, our depth, and our age through our farm system, so to speak, of high school recruiting and developing them, getting them older, and in some cases not wasting their year.
Yeah, got some other good news, but we can't talk about anything until the the T's and the I's have been crossed and dotted. Two more things, Coach, if I could. Lafayette on Wednesday.
Yeah.
1-3 coming in. Some tough competition and tough
no,
games.
I mean, their record's misleading. They opened the season up at Villanova, and then they opened the season up game 2 at LaSalle. Both of those two teams, on the road to open the year, very challenging games. Then they had an injury. Their 7'1", shot blocker got hurt, and I don't know if he'll be back for our game or not. But it changed their team where they had to go from playing a true big to now playing small, which actually causes a lot of problems. And then they beat Penn at home. They had a great performance at home. They shot the ball. They have a freshman named Caleb Williams right now. He's if he's not top 10 in the country in three-point field goal shooting, he's right up there. He's about 52% shooting the three. And then they went on the road to Cornell again. So 3 of their first 4 games have been in tough environments on the road against good teams, and they've played them all the way to the end. Their team has changed a little bit here in the middle of the last week and a half with an injury, so they're playing half of their game with different lineups and small. But I think Wednesday night they're very organized. I think they cause a lot of problems for us with their matchups. They shoot the 3 well. They're making about 10 threes a game, which is scary. And they can mix their defenses up, full court, half court. And they've been good on that end, regardless of who they've played. So we'll have to play our most complete game. We'll also have to be, really ready to adjust on the fly to different lineups. But we're going to have to really get back and say at the end of this game on Wednesday night, were we better in doing what we're supposed to be doing from a defensive standpoint, from an offensive standpoint? Are we just better doing what we do in game 4 than we were, the previous week? And we've worked hard. We've had 3 really good workouts. We'll have another one tomorrow before we play. We're anxious to get back on the floor, though.
Oh, no, we want to finish up with the news of today. One of the pieces of news coming out is that Ty Farrell is going to be our guest right after the break, is once again the Rookie of the Week in the Atlantic 10 for the second time this year. Congratulations to Ty. And just a word about him, Coach, coming in and really finding himself a big role on this team.
Well, Ty's a winner at every level that he's been at. He's played in an extremely highly competitive Baltimore Catholic League, on the AAU circuit, on the Nike scene. He's competed against the best, and he's won. I think that's the number one attribute. I think you have to look him. He's not afraid when the lights are on. He wasn't afraid when we threw him out there in the Bahamas. He wasn't afraid, whether we played UConn. I mean, he's a gamer. And I think as he's evolving right now for our team, he plays a big role in the physicality and the size on our perimeter. And I think what he's got to embrace as he keeps going down here the line is defensively being big and strong and able to rebound for us. On the offensive end, I think you can see he's multifaceted in his ball handling, can create, he can get to the basket. He's got offensive rebound for us, though, with his size to get that part of our game going a little bit more. But he's right, exactly what we thought. We knew he would make an impact on our team when we recruited him, and we think he's going to be a special, special player down the road. Does that mean he's not going to have his ups and downs as a young guy? No, he certainly is. But I will tell you this, when we recruit a freshman and we bring them in and we tell them they're going to have to be ready to go because we're going to need them to make an impact, we mean it. He's going to win Rookie of the Week every week because he's about the only freshman in the country playing right now.
Exactly.
The minutes that he's playing, and he's out there doing it against 4th and 5th-year seniors. So he's got to be ready on his end and answer the bell. But I don't think we're very surprised in what he's doing for us, and I would be very, very surprised if he didn't continue to just get better and better.
I love what you said weeks ago about him. You said we recruited him and brought him in for the future, and then he told us, I'm going to be part of the present. Right?
Yeah, he did. I mean, you don't know what to expect when you recruit, young guys, but you do know that freshmen right now are up against it.
Yeah.
They just are. I mean, if you look at the Atlantic 10 Conference this year from an experience standpoint, I think we're pretty experienced. We have some older guys, Dave, Jaden, Sebastian. Jamarcus is a third-year player. Javante, you would think that you'd look at our team and say, boy, they got a lot of age. We're 7th in the Atlantic 10 in experience level. So if you put that into context of our league, we're in the top 5 in the country as a conference in most experience. Mm-hmm. Our league isn't littered with young, talented freshmen anymore. Our league is littered with transfers. And there's very few young guys that have an opportunity to step in with any role, let alone a big one. And, Cam and David faced that last year. They didn't play against any other freshmen. They were playing against old guys. They get hit pretty good. he's going to get hit pretty good, but it just speeds and accelerates their improvement and what the impact they can make in their career, like the old guys used to do. You know what I mean? It was like the Jeff Doughtons of the world. They played as freshmen, and all the other guys that came through here that kind of grew up. Nowadays, if you're the 7th most experienced team in your league and you have a lot of old guys, you know what you're getting ready to go up against when you get into January, February, March. Old, strong, experienced teams, very few young guys. So I think that's where you look at Ty and you say at the end of the day, you're always on him to have that motor, to always have the physicality, to always be, mindful of who you're guarding. You don't have very many opportunities as a young guy to take possessions off as we get going here because you're playing against juniors, seniors, fifth-year seniors a lot of times. But I'm happy he's with us.
Hey, Coach, thanks so much for the conversation.
Yep.
Thanks for all you do for the University of Rhode Island. We appreciate it. It's going to be a fun year with the URI men's basketball team for sure. A couple of things. Rhody and Ripta Holiday Toy Drive is taking place at the Lafayette game, the College of Charleston, and then the Yale and the Providence College games. Before those games, you can go to the North Lobby at the Ryan Center and donate a brand-new toy that will be given to kids around the holidays. We want to thank our good friend and URI alum, former basketball player Ibn Bakari, who spearheads the Lights and Sirens campaign to get all those kids what they need for Christmas and for the holidays. So thank you to Ibn for all of that. And also want to mention a promotional standpoint for the College of Charleston game, which is Sunday at noon. Bank Newport has a family 4-pack set for you right now, and you can get it with 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 drinks as well. I think those are sodas, if I'm not mistaken. $88 for the package, 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 drinks. If you don't want your hot dogs, you know where I sit, right down courtside. Swing them on down. GoRhody.com/tickets to get yours for the Sunday game at noon. But first, want to see you Wednesday at 7 o'clock for the tip-off against Lafayette coming up for Rhode Island. An exciting week of college basketball, and, Coach, you're making it happen. We appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Look forward to
Archie Miller. We're going to have Ty Farrell in just a bit from Learfield. Michaela, part of the paparazzi over here, getting a picture of the two-time Rookie of the Week in the Atlantic 10, Ty Farrell. How about that? So just came out. Shane texted me this afternoon right before your practice started. Did you hear before practice or after?
No, I didn't know until after practice.
Hell yeah?
Yeah.
Who told you?
Benny.
Benny told you.
Benny
Okay, yeah. And what was your reaction to that?
It's always exciting. It can't be nothing but excited and blessed.
That's the second one for you in this young season. You had a double-double last time out, and that got you the Rookie of the Week honors, 2 of them in the young season for Rhode Island, so plenty more hoping to come that way. Ty Farrell, a freshman, 6'6", and out of Baltimore, Maryland, the pride of Baltimore, Maryland, right? Mount St. Joseph and the Baltimore Catholic League, which is, Coach was talking about you playing against good competition. That's good competition, right?
Yeah, pretty thick. Thick.
Yeah. Who are some of the guys coming out of there, either in your class or other guys that have made that big step?
Like players?
Yeah.
Amani Hansberry, he went there. Ace Baldwin, Penn State, he went there, played for VCU. Mm-hmm. Emmanuel Quickly, he went there. Many more, a lot more.
Absolutely. Now, you also played for Team Mello, right, which is Carmelo Anthony's team, right?
Yes, sir.
So was he around a lot?
Yeah, he was around practices, stopped by practices, after practice, talk to me, teach me a little footwork or some touch around the rim and work out a little bit. Yeah, he's a good guy there for us anytime we needed him.
Really? So that's pretty cool to have somebody who's where you want to be,
Absolutely.
Right, someday. And certainly he was there at a very high level to give you some insight. So what types of things? You mentioned a few of footwork and stuff. What was his message to you?
Really just catch the ball, pivots, reverse pivots, and stuff like that. It's just footwork and how to be patient with the ball and looking around, make sure your feet right, you step left first, then right, stuff like that.
Any non-basketball stuff, like just about advice for you as you make that next step to college and beyond?
Mm-mm.
Just he's nuts and bolts.
Yeah, more basketball.
All about the game. And with Team Mello, you guys, you were in the Peach Jam, right?
Yep.
Which is as good as it gets in competition, and also the DC Live. Talk about those 2 tournaments and what you got out of them playing at a high level like that.
Absolutely. So, Peace Jam, EYBL, you play the best of the best competition. You play where you want to be at.
Yeah.
So I'm playing against all the kids that's going like to Duke and Rutgers and stuff. So I'm like, okay, this is where I want to be at. This is where I want to play against. This who I want to see where I can match up against these guys that see if I can compete at that high level that I think I can. So that's all that really prepared me for was college and get me ready for now. And then DC Live, DMV Live is a whole building full of coaches, low major to high major. So it's just go out there and play your game. Don't be nervous. It's nothing to be nervous. It's nothing but opportunity here.
Seems like you're a pretty cool customer. And Coach mentioned the same, saying that you took on a big role this year, and he mentioned that you were very confident about it. Does that confidence come from being in those situations before you got here?
Absolutely. Confidence comes from the hard work, the hard work that nobody see, the hard work that I only know, my family only know. I just lock in and just do what I'm supposed to do when the time comes.
So outside of practice with the team and the mandated stuff that you have to do, what does Ty Farrell do that separates him from some other guys?
Late night gun work.
Oh,
Hop on a shooting machine, get a couple shots up, couple hundred shots up, make sure I'm locked in, dialed in, try to at least get above 50%. Really, I want 60, but that's a challenge sometimes. So.
And with the that makes that practice facility that you have so invaluable because 24 hours a day, right?
Yep.
You can go in there.
Yep, anytime.
Yeah, and get some shots up in either the gun or you can have some of the student managers ready to rebound for you.
Anytime.
And such. Absolutely. I remember Jimmy Barron, who played at URI, came back from Temple. We had lost to Temple, and we're going through the Ryan Center to get to our cars, and pitch black. And Jimmy's all you hear in there is boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. All you could see is the exit signs. That was it. All the lights were off. I said, Jimmy, is that you? He said, yeah. I'm getting up some shots. I said, you got to turn on a light? No, I got to feel it.
I might got to try that then.
Yeah, absolutely. Shut those lights off. Make it a little difficult. Well, yeah. Talk about what's the timetable? When did you realize that, hey, you know what? I'm going to be a starter on this team?
Honestly, UConn game.
Yeah,
UConn game just threw me in. I was like, I was a little nervous. Everybody going to be a little nervous first game, but I was more excited than anything else. I was like, dang, the coaching staff really believes in me. My teammates really believe in me, so I can't do nothing but go off. I got to have a solid game and be prepared to do what I got to do.
So if you had to describe your game, right, give us the 3 best things about your game, and then give me the one area of the game that you're saying to yourself, hey, by the end of this year, I got to be better at this.
Best parts of my game, probably getting downhill, passing, or finishing for sure. A part that I got to work on, maybe free throw consistency. But I'm a good free throw shooter. It's just sometimes I stray away from my routine just to rush through it. So I need to be more patient on free throws. I'll say that. Okay, so working on the free throws. But you know what I love about your game is the ability for you to guard pretty much anybody on the floor. All right, talk about that part of your game. Yeah, absolutely. 6'6". I think I got like a 7'2" wingspan, 7'1" wingspan, so very versatile. I could switch on a 4-man. I could guard a 1-man. I could small ball lineups even guard a 5-man. So just a lot of versatility, a lot of effort. That's all the defense is effort and hustle, and I think I bring that to the table for sure. So you're a freshman at URI. You're playing the 2-time defending national champs at Mohegan Sun in front of 8,000 people, and Coach says you're in the starting lineup. What is running through those veins when you hear that? I'm excited, though. My mom, my grandma there, my cousin's there. So I'm like, wow, my family about to see me play college basketball the first time ever. This is like a dream come true. As a kid, everybody want to go D1. I'm living my dream right now, so I can't complain at all. So then it's halftime, you're down 4. And on a number of occasions in the first half, you're leading against the Huskies. Right? What, at halftime, you sit there and say, you know what, we can play with these guys. Absolutely. Halftime, we thought we was in it. We thought we could win. Yeah. I thought we could win, too. You give us Bassy, I think it's a different story. Yeah, right. I think it's a different story. Sebastian didn't play that game. He had the concussion protocol. Take us a week before that game, or maybe 3 or 4 days before that game. What was your thought then? Did you think you could go in and get them then? Yeah, I always had a confidence because if you come in thinking you're going to lose, then you're going to lose. Yeah, right. So you got to come in at least thinking some hope that we can win. That's what they say, right? Yeah. Whether you think you're going to win or you think you're going to lose, you're going to be right. Exactly. Right? Whichever one you think is going to happen. Coach mentioned that you're the only guy in the rotation as a freshman at Rhode Island, but like he mentioned,
they're hard to find right now, right? Yeah. So you're up against guys that are 2, 3, 4 years older than you. Do you notice that out there physically? Is there a more of a challenge?
Practice got me used to that. The first week of practice, every single day after practice, I just went straight to sleep. I was so tired. I was so exhausted. Guarding Jaden House, he made me adapt to the strength that college basketball players really have. Really? He'll give you that one bump, and I'm flying. I'm like, God dang, I'm really flying. So he take credit for that for sure. He got me stronger and got me adapted to guarding more physical college basketball players.
Sent a message to you, huh?
Yeah, for sure he did.
Non-verbal message, right?
For sure.
When you hit the wall, you said, "Okay, I think I got it now." When Coach talks to you, and what is the role that he's looking for from you? What does he want you to do?
He want me to do a little bit of everything, play a lot of defense, offensive rebound. I catch the ball in the perimeter, rip, create for my teammates, myself, knock down open shots, make my free throws, get to a line, defensive rebound and push, and then just get out on a fast break.
So when you chose URI, it was DePaul, right? Mm-hmm. Towson was involved, and UMBC, a couple others. Why URI?
It's like a family. Soon as they was my first offer, 11th grade year, so I was like, wow, they took the biggest chance on me. Nobody else took a chance on me, so I'm like, wow, that's love. Kenny Johnson, Archie, they was recruiting me heavy, and Archie really was recruiting me more than Kenny. So when Kenny left, I was like, that sucks, but Archie, he still was messing with me. Archie still was telling me all the stuff that I would like to hear, so I'm like, there's no reason to stray away from it. I still got a lot of faith in the coaching staff, and they still got a lot of faith in me.
Yeah, you had that relationship with Kenny from the D.C. area and all, but Archie kind of took over the reins there. And when you look at that process and you end up on the right side of it here at Rhode Island and get the opportunities that you did, your expectations couldn't have been that, hey, I'm going to hit the road as I did, right? You probably thought it was going to be a little longer road than that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we do this thing. It's called Know Your Hometown. We're going to ask you some questions about Baltimore. Before I do, you just mentioned family, about URI being a family. Mm-hmm. Tell us about your family. Who's behind you? Who's supporting you all the way?
Mom, grandma, really everybody, honestly.
Yeah.
But mom and grandma are the heaviest one. They try to come to every game. They'll take the 6-hour drive like it's nothing. Come back the next day. So It's all love for them. I'm so proud to be a part of that family.
Anybody that goes over the GW Bridge for you, you got them. You know their family, right? Know your hometown, Baltimore, Maryland, man. That is a great town. I love Baltimore, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you 4 questions about Baltimore, okay? And we'll see how many you get right. All right. What is the area called by the water with the restaurants and shops in Baltimore?
The Harbor?
The Inner Harbor is correct. Very well. That's good. We're going to give you full credit for that. All right. The Harbor was close enough. Yeah. What is the name of the place that the Baltimore Orioles play in? Baseball? You a baseball fan at all?
No, I'm not a baseball fan.
It's right in the Inner Harbor. It's right near the Inner Harbor.
I know the stadium. I don't know what it's called, though. Yeah, educate me.
It's Oriole Park at Camden Yards.
Okay.
We would have accepted Camden Yards.
Okay.
But we will not accept nothing.
Yeah, I did not know that.
We do have some rules here, Ty.
Yeah.
Even though you won a couple of Rookie of the Weeks, we're still going to have some rules. All right, this is another stadium question. We're going to go with football. You a football fan?
Yeah, I watch football every Sunday.
Baltimore Ravens fan?
Mm-hmm.
Where do they play?
M&T Bank.
Yeah, M&T Bank Stadium is right. Very good.
Yes,
that's great. So you got 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to end up above 500. So that means you got to get this one, okay?
Do or die.
And I think you're going to get that. I think this is the easiest one of all. What do the letters, in relation to Baltimore, do DMV stand for?
D.C., Virginia, Maryland.
You got it. Sounds good. All right. 3 out of 4. That's excellent, Ty.
Appreciate
You're the
it.
best. Hey, Ty, thanks so much for being with us.
Yes, sir.
Also, congratulations for the couple of honors that you've already gotten from the A10. But also, thanks for all the hard work you're putting in for the University of Rhode Island. We're proud of you, and we appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me.
All right. You got it, man. Ty Farrell with us, and good things are coming. That is for sure. That's going to wrap up our show for us here at the Mews Tavern. I want to thank Coach Miller for being with us. I want to thank Ty for being with us as well. Make sure you get out Wednesday to the URI game against Lafayette, and that one's going to tip off at 7 o'clock. Another one coming up on Sunday against College of Charleston. We're going to be looking forward to that one as well. And we get the ticket offer. If you go to gorhody.com/tickets, you can see where you can get the 4 tickets, 4 hot dogs, and 4 sodas. And Bank Newport is our sponsor, right? Whew, remembered that one. That was good. Pulled that one out of my hat, Ty. That's not bad. You get all the awards, but I deserve something for that.
That's award worthy. That's award worthy.
Well, thanks to George McAuliffe for having us here at the Mews Tavern. We'll see you on Wednesday night at the Ryan Center. Go Rhody.
You've been listening to the Archie Miller Show. Tonight's show has been brought to you by Bud Light. It's for the fans. Ortho Rhode Island, the official orthopedic and sports medicine provider for URI Athletics. Duncan. Rhody runs on Duncan. Bank RI, turning change into opportunity. And by Haxton's Liquors, where we buy the most so you pay the least. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of Unity. And by Haxton's Liquors, where we buy the most so you pay the least. The preceding has been a Learfield presentation of